crazy, Malin. I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years. 40 years.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
Good evening or good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Console Gaming League, where we are on the PC side of things this game. In the EU side, Masters tier for the losers finals of Nymphicus versus Chorks. My name is Dextron, joined here by Soav. Man, how are you doing today?
I mean, we are all perfectly on fire behind the scenes, but it's a good day for some EU matches between these two, close rivals, I guess, in some ways, Nymphicus and Chorks. Both these teams from the same association, from the same group. So this is basically, we're just watching a scrim in some ways. And that's kind of a nice thing, but it's a scrim that matters because like we said, losers finals means that somebody's going home as you look into this because someone's got to go in and play Coconut.
Yeah, and we'll bring up the bracket right now. These two teams actually have already met each other here in the upper semifinals. Chorks is able to beat Nymphicus 3-1, but other than that, Nymphicus has not lost a map yet this playoff. So this, in my opinion, is going to be a really, really close game considering how good these two teams are, and that Chorks was just so close to beating Coconut Crew.
Yeah, this really is, jokes aside that these guys know each other and play alongside in scrim, like this isn't a really close matchup that should really be interesting to watch going into this. So as this match goes on, we'll get a look to see. And I think the interesting part to me is that Nymphicus really have been playing with a strong five. Like they have been kind of playing without a tank. Their tank player has been a filler for the longest time. So really kind of making a lot out of nothing in some ways. So really Nymphicus making quite the run here.
Yeah, but as you kind of already talked about right now, these two teams come from the same org here. They are very closely intertwined with each other, and they actually made us a special logo for today's game. And look at it. I really do like this logo for these two teams. It is absolutely adorable in my opinion.
It is adorable watching them fight over the same amount of love and heart. So, that's the good thing of it all, right? It's like, that's the spirit of this competition. There's no real love lost. These guys are friends at the end of the day. So there's going to be some jabs and some ribbing at the end of it all. But these two teams are going to leave it all out there. They're going to play for the heart because they all want to go in on this finals. And, you just love to see those both. You love to see these teams just coming together and acknowledging the rivalry they have amongst themselves.
Yeah, and even though these are two teams from the same org, Nymphicus here has some revenge they want to get on Chorks. Chorks wants to try to get that revenge on Coconut Crew in the finals. But while we talk about the teams, why don't we introduce you to the teams? And the first team that we'll introduce you to is Nymphicus. Here you see their starting lineup, their DPS line of iQuack and Weiss. Their tank of, I'll just get this out of the way now, My Rusty Balls. And their DPS, there's the support line of Kizo and Matador.
Rusty is the player that I'm keeping an eye on because as a filler from basically down the line, really has kind of had the hardest part for to come in and really kind of make this team and lead this team. Tank still is a very big leadership position, so Rusty has a lot riding on their backs in that regard. So between that and also between iQuack, who I assume is going to be picking up more of the hit scans, I think those two are going to be two of the players I'm watching out.
Yeah, I expect this to be a good lineup here tonight for them. But while we talk about them, why don't we introduce you to the other team as well? Sohav, why don't you introduce us to GG Chorks?
I would love to. On the DPS, we've got Tries, Soul, Holy Frog will be covering the tank, and bringing up the support, we've got Burns and Skillculator.
Yeah,
Skullculator, sorry.
But how they want us to pronounce their name is just Cole. But honestly, they've made it this far. They've really only dropped 3 maps this entire playoff, 4 maps, my bad, this entire playoffs. 1 against Nymphicus in that semifinals, 3 against Coconut Crew, but that was a 5-map series there, went the distance. So it could have gone either way there, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is that cream of the crop section. And at this point now, you're looking at all those different factors that come in. And speaking of those factors, first map is going to be Lijiang Tower. This is kind of expected for this point in the game. Like, this is one of those maps that everybody plays, everybody scrims. So really, this is going to be a great test of how prepared are these teams for those maps you scrimmed, those comps you should have understood, and these kinds of fixed and kind of like preset teams that you want to run on a place like Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, and you have to imagine with these teams being so closely knit that they've practiced a lot on Lijiang Tower here. But I always like Lijiang Tower as a first map because I've heard from a lot of players that you can play so many different comps on it and have a lot of success with the different comps that it's just a good warm-up map.
Yeah, agree completely. I mean, there are definitely maps you want to do different things. We all know this is the home of Junkrat. Sim teleports into the window on the other sub maps. This is arguably one of the maps where you'll see the most flexibility out of teams and their picks, just because we've kind of solved a lot of things. So you have some space for your own comfort, but there's some pretty tried and true comps that both of these teams know off of each other and should be able to kind of play and counter. So really, it's going to make a really good difference as to who makes these in the game changes going into this match.
Yeah, and like I've talked about already a couple times here, Chorks have already beaten Nymphicus once in this playoffs, and I don't know what the result was in the regular season for them, but I imagine they probably beat Nymphicus again. So this is gonna be a real uphill battle, in my opinion, for Nymphicus, even though I expect it to be a close series overall. Just Nymphicus got knocked down a little bit early in the playoffs here, but has had a good solid run in this lower or in the losers bracket.
I'm sorry, Dex. Did you not get the revenge arc script that I got here? Because I'm looking at Chorks to say, look, we all know these guys. We got knocked out early. We fought all the way back here, and we want to keep going. We want to see ourselves in that finals. I'm looking at this and saying, Chorks have no reason not to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks here. And you can see it by their immediate team lock there. We got that glimpse, and you see it. It's just a high damage brawl, exactly kind of what you would have expected with this. And I don't expect them to change off of that. It was Sim, it was Bastion, it was Reinhardt. Like, just pure running at things and making sure everything dies. I just have to imagine that's what they run out here with. Nymphicus, however, we didn't get that quite. I feel the enemy told Tab they should be banned. A little back and forth just to try to get the upper advantage here going into it. Yeah, the little 2 variations on Brawl, though, from Nymphicus, they are pulling out the Ramatra and the Ramatra as opposed to the Reinhardt, which is a little bit of a, your kind of flavor pick. There is a bit of a difficult matchup between the Rhine and the Ramatra. Really does come down to a lot of skill between how you manage, your cooldowns, or when do you go forward, when do you have your team support, and when can you really go. And that'll make a lot of the difference. So I'm really watching these tanks going into this to kind of set the different paces between Chorks and Nymphicus.
Yeah, I'm just more impressed that you got a script. I didn't get anything for this game, so this is going to be really fun for me here. But you immediately see Chorks there use that Sim TP to get up to that high ground. Iceball already coming out there from iQuack, trying to just disrupt Chorks there a little bit, but now they try to go on a little bit of the offensive here. Try is just going to beam down Rusty here, but Rusty going to be able to keep themselves alive with help from that immortality field. But iQuack first one to fall here. Burns immediately finds him. Holy Frog tries to charge in, but that should force Nymphicus to fall back.
Yeah, the Symmetra beam just got up to 3 a little bit faster based on the Ramatra wall and all the things like that, really forced them out. And because of that, this Chorks team is a little bit more defensive. They're keeping the Bastion on the opposite side. So, I mean, Chorks will have a couple more defensive ultimates. They'll have Immortality Field. Just comes down to finding the isolation now.
Yeah, Rusty immediately trying to go in there on Holy Frog. The supports, though, for Chorks doing a good job keeping them up. Already Immortality Field being used here by Nymphicus. Rusty incredibly low, having to back out there to keep themselves alive here. A lot of members of Chorks go low as well. Immortality Field's down and out for both sides here. No one has fallen yet. Nymphicus, though, we're on Whis here. They're going to start melting down that Rhine. They're going to find Holy Frog there. Actually, it'll be Rusty who does that, but the damage is already coming out from Chorks. And look at that. 3 kills. The Blizzard, the Sim Wall, it's all coming out for them there, but it will end in a team kill.
Maybe a little bit of an excited throw in for the Blizzard. I don't know that we needed it there, but, you're not mad about that. Sound Barrier is up for burns now, and it's got, it's going to come down to a question mark here because Blizzard is up versus that, as well as Annihilation. It's going to have to get spent on one of those two, and the other one, well, the rest of the Chorks is just going to have to kite around that.
Yeah, you also have the damage matrix ready here for Matador, but Annihilation ready for Rusty. Damage matrix comes out first. Oh, but the Ice Wall does not block it. You immediately see it get melted down there. Rusty now pressing the aggression here, trying to get rid of the Sim TP. Burns popping that Blizzard. Popping the beat as the Blizzard comes out here from Iquack. Wirus is going to pop the Artillery Strike as well, trying to find anyone with it. Will not find anyone, but Nymphicus does just enough there to flip the point.
Yeah, they controlled the space enough and got the Sound Barrier out. They didn't feel the need to commit the Annihilation. So now with a Sound Barrier and Annihilation of their own, Nymphicus are primed to continue to hold this. They should have the sustain to push through.
Shatter comes out, only finds Kizo there as they pop the beat, keeping the Nymphicus alive in this one. Rusty's still holding on to this Annihilation, but Chorks falling back.
Okay, that's a pretty free Sound Barrier. You got that for the simple cost of a Shatter. You're pretty happy with that again. And Rusty still holding on to that Annihilation, should just be able to buy the space, and with how aggressive Nymphicus has been playing spatially, they should win it here.
Damage matrix coming out, but here comes the Annihilation here from Rusty. They already find 1. The damage, though, leading to a lot of other kills. Whis able to find 4.
Ooh, huge Bastion Bomb in there in the end. So with all those tools we're now running out, Nymphicus has to win this in the neutral. There's only a Sim Wall against them, but that's a great initiator for Chorks. They should just be able to rush this down and build the rest of Blizzard. So kiting this Blizzard is going to be their only tool, as they're at 50% and they can't afford to give up the space here now.
Tries, looking like they want to pop the Sim Wall out here early, but a little bit too late there. Soul gets taken out there by Quack. You see Rusty here again applying the pressure. They're able to find tries there. Wes up here trying to get us whatever damage they can, and they're actually a good spot if they want to go into that turret mode, but the kills continue to come out here for Nymphicus, and it will be yet again, I think, another team kill.
Yeah, I think one might get out, but that's a great disengage and realization that they could just give up the point, way back on the attack there. Now they'll have 3 ultimates up for Nymphicus, and Blizzard plus this this assault formation here is going to come in. That's just plenty of space bought. They don't even really need to send it.
Yeah, they're going to fire it. They're all on Holy Frog. We'll force them to back up a little bit. Time running out. The damage bridge is coming out, and Whis is absolutely sending down a lot of damage. Chorks running out of time here. They're not going to be able to touch us off the pressure there from Nymphicus.
Yeah, Nymphicus just in the better position to control the space there. Blizzard between the Ramatra, and then there's that amp with the Bastion through it is just so much damage, really just controlling the space that you're allowed to do. This is one of the initial picks on the Sim, and I gotta give it to tries. The Sim pick is kind of the default. Not staying on it usually is the longer of it, but it worked for them, and it was obviously a little bit more comfortable. I think, again, the difference maker here has been this Ramatra. Between just the space control that you get in this ball compared with the May, does a lot of, just does so much. So we'll see if that sticks, and it looks like they will hold that. Meanwhile, on the other side, Chorks is going to pick up a lot more air control between the Diva and the Aura. So not too much to compete with this. It's going to come down to Whis and Matador to really keep these flyers in check.
Yeah, and you may see Rusty in their throw that ability to try and maybe potentially catch some people coming out through a Sim TP, but there's no Sim TP on the side of Chorks there. Soul now going to try to pepper in a lot of damage. Look at that. They're almost able to take out Kizo there, but the Immortality Field coming up to keep them alive here as they just keep on raining in more damage. Matador, first one to fall there.
That's a huge pick too. Immortality Field already spent, and that's the bulk of your healing. Means it's a one fight for Chorks, so it'll be simple cleanup from this point out, and the May will manage to get out alive. But they're just kind of waiting on the one. The Ana in deep as well manages to find some on the way out, and I mean, Tries is just cleaning. They're finally getting the rest of it, but I mean, a lot of just ultimate charge built up already for Chorks. Both the Pharah and Tracer already at 70, plus the Nano coming online means it's going to be a full swap over. Now we're over to a ball poke comp with Nymphicus. We know we can't deal with it. We know we have to find an isolation and we have to play a little bit more spaced out. That Pharah is just too punishing right now.
Yeah, and I really do like the swaps coming out here from Nymphicus. You know, that Echo, I always kind of say is a good counter to a Pharah in the sky, but Pharah already able, or Soul able to take out Matador. Kizo will use the res to get Matador back in this one to make sure that Nymphicus is at full strength for this fight, but Iquack, without that pocket, immediately falls, and Soul going right back after Matador there. Kizo low as well. Hell, everyone for Nymphicus is low here. Kizo eventually falls. Holy Frog, with some help there from Soul, takes out Whis, and now they have their eyes set on Matador, and just another fight win here for the Chorks.
Yeah, it's been a lot, especially because you didn't commit too much of this. So Chorks will have 2-3 ultimates coming into their fourth on this. So simply just that huge ult bank, just that plethora of ults should get them value as long as they catch, you know, someone on it. Soul is looking. There's nothing really to contest them in the air here. So should just be able to get a free barrage in and just hopefully not get too greedy.
Yeah, here comes the Nano. This really feels like to me the barrage is about to come out. Here it comes. It's not going to find anyone, though. They eventually just throw it up to the sky. That could have been huge for Chorks there, but they're not able to find anyone with that Skull Killer. Falls first here. This is the opening that Nymphicus has been looking for. They just need to try to capitalize on it right now. Bomb coming out here from Holy Frog. Not going to be able to find anyone with that one there. Nymphicus does have some ultimates to play around with here, but Soul able to find Kizo, and then 2 straight kills coming out from Nymphicus to put them back in the lead here numbers-wise. The duplicate coming out here from Quack. They're going to duplicate Holy Frog here, immediately get them out of their mech. Going to try to focus them down, but Holy Frog just going to take themselves out of the picture.
Yeah. The duplicate's not too much. You're not too sad about that, but really the Chorks had a great look with that Nano Barrage, just unfortunately kind of looking for the better play. Cost them a little bit, especially because the coverage was there for us. So they'll now bring in the Echo to match the opposing Echo. Nymphicus sitting there with 4 ultimates up on board, no answer in sight, no defensive ults, nothing there for Chorks. So Nymphicus has their pick, just has to not overcommit here.
Yeah, they have to be very smart with these ultimates right now. Soul swapping off the Pharah, now going to this Echo. I want to see this Echo fight happen here between them and Quack. But right now, Nymphicus, like you said, they went to this poke comp, trying to just annoy some of this backline here. You see Whis immediately go after Holy Frog, who is the furthest one up for anyone on the Chorks. Now, a lot of members of the Chorks kind of just circling around the point.
Yeah, they're looking for an entrance point to kind of dive somebody down, but unfortunately, they're the ones to.
Yeah, the Kasuni coming out here from Matador. Matador will lose their life here to Holy Frog, but, you know, they do get that Kasuni rush out here. That's going to provide their team a lot of support and abilities, just being a lot faster than they normally are. Quack able to find 2. Now, they're going to try to stagger out Holy Frog here, but Holy Frog trying to jump off the map. Instead of jumping off the map, though, they're actually able to find Kizo.
That's an important pick on the way out. It is Valkyrie out of the mix for the brief time being, but the Mercy will be back quick. I mean, that fight was won with only the Kitsune Rush. They still have 3 up, and again, there's really not an answer for Chorks. They are coming into Nano, but it's not going to do anything. No defensive, so Mines plus Pulse Bomb, all these bombs should just control the space and hopefully find an easy pick in the back.
Minefields already coming out here from Rusty, someone on point right now for the Chorks, but essentially this might be last fight scenario right here if Nymphicus is able to win it. Valkyrie coming out here from Kizo. You see the touches coming out there from Chorks to keep the point alive. The damage boost here on Whis is almost deadly there for Soul, but the Nano coming out on the Soul. GG Chorks doing what they need to do to start things off here, finding a couple kills. The Pulse Bomb stick doesn't end up killing anyone. Whis and Kizo both out. This should be a point flip.
In the nick of time too, there's gonna be just enough time for one fight left, and now Chorks will have both Pulse Bomb and self-destruct, so this space control should be enough to threaten. They just have to continue and get these kills isolated. They have to complete these kills. Every single pick counts here.
Look at this. Quack will fall here, but Nymphicus almost takes the point off of that TP. Matador able to find Soul. That's a huge pickoff for them. Nymphicus here trying to get rid of Burns, but Burns pops that Valkyrie to keep themselves alive and keep the rest of their team support. Actually, Nymphicus able to flip point there. Burns able to res Soul now. Bomb and High Noon ready. Tries going to try to find anyone with this here. They have their eyes set on a couple people, but they're still holding on to it, waiting for anyone to poke out. And that almost wins them this round, but it's still alive here as Nymphicus able to touch. Tries going to be able to do just enough to force a point 3.
Yeah, just great control of the map. Just knowing, look, we can just force this. We can just force them to stay off point. So that was just smart play there. Just very very smart play out of that, forcing us into game three. And again, these two teams, we've talked about how they've known each other. They play against each other. We probably scrim each other quite a lot. So you can see like the Tracer matchup. These matchups are suddenly going head to head. We're realizing we have to, match these numbers, and we have to match these characters. We have to match this because they just know exactly what the other is capable of. So going to 3 makes total sense here. But again, this is a different map. So with that in mind, it looks like Chorks will carry on with a little bit of their comp. But Nymphicus is going to go into a dive now, picking up the Winston and the Ana. So a lot of rotation, but not a lot of ultimate power. So a lot of those ultimates from Nymphicus are going to need to. It's going to come from the teamwork here, not the ultimates.
Yeah, and tries here going over to this Ashe. I really do like this pick because it can do so much if they're able to land those headshots and get that pop early. But look at that. Rusty gets antied and immediately taken out by Holy Frog. Their Soul sleeping here on the ground. And look, that damage or that defense vector is coming out there from Holy Frog, going to be able to keep them alive.
Yeah, the defensive nature of this D.Va versus the aggressive nature of the Winston really does quite a lot. Okay, the recall came through there. That was concerning for a moment.
Oh man, that would have been funny. But right now, point is available to cap. Chorks looking like they're going to be able to cap it here first. Wisto able to find tries out to maybe get this Nymphicus retake started here. They also find Burns as well. Matador does end up falling, but now the mercy for Nymphicus falls, and this is not the situation you want to be in if you're Nymphicus. You know supports, but however, Nymphicus continues to find kills. Wisp doing a good job here. They're going to be able to demech this D.Va. Wisp does have this pulse bomb ready to go, but Quack could be able to melt them down with their beam.
No, you're okay with that, I think, if you're Nymphicus, because you still can win 2 and 3v1s as long as you follow up on your dives, and that's what's worked for them. Wisp's pulse bomb has to get past whatever's there, and it looks like he doesn't even need it.
I think Nymphicus forgot to cap the point.
Yeah, I think they did. I think they won and just kind of let it keep ticking because they got to 30% there before that happens, and they spent pulse bomb too without really giving it. So now, not much in the bank. They'll have duplicate and they'll have nano on. I mean, it's probably going to be the Nano D.Va again if I had to, like a Nano Duplicate D.Va possibly, but there's not a lot of tools for them to really make aggressive plays. They're going to have to, again, get this calculated dive onto the backline and really capitalize from there.
Soul almost having this barrage ready could be a huge ultimate for them. Oh, but they might get taken out here by Quack, and they're going to be able to. That's a huge pickoff for them there. I also think they fell into the koi pond, so they can't get res back into this fight. Holy Frog going to get demeched here by everyone on Nymphicus. Now they just have to try to find the baby D.Va out, and look at this Rusty diving on to Skullculator here as they pop the nano, I believe, onto the baby D.Va and try to keep them alive. Skullculator falls, Holy Frog falls as well, so a wasted nano boost in my opinion.
Yeah, unfortunately, just trying to get Holy Frog back into contest a little longer, but it's not well spent. They will have self-destruct now, but again, this aggression on Nymphicus just taking it forward, kind of playing into Chorks' aggression, defensive nature here. I mean, there's a plethora of ultimates on both sides, but I mean, iQuack is holding onto this duplicate. 2 tanks can make the difference. Again, with Matador having that nano up, I sense a nano duplicate could be something to close this out with.
Did Soul use the barrage before swapping over, but tries, able to find Wisp out here early. Quack try to find one back. They're going to duplicate though into this D.Va, and they're just going to only focus in on this Cassidy. The High Noon comes out for them. They won't find anything. The duplicate ends for them, but they're able to do enough to make sure that High Noon does not find anyone there. Nymphicus now 90% and counting. Soul has to recall to keep themselves alive. They're trying to pepper out Rusty there. Wisp does pop the pulse bump, but tries able to find them with that right there. GG Chorks keeping this fight alive, but here comes the Primal Rage from Rusty. They're throwing hands at whoever they can find right now. They have their eyes set on Soul, but Soul blinks away. Now it's back to Holy Frog. Burns using that Valkyrie to keep everyone support here. Actually, it's to make sure everyone's getting a damage boost. Soul able to find Kiesel here. Bomb coming out here from Holy Frog. Not able to find anyone. Tries, finds Matador, and the point flip here for Chorks.
I mean, they had to use the extra life for the D.Va to get it, and it was worth it because it's his last point. Soul built that pulse bomb very, very quickly, did have the barrage. I believe kind of threw it out there and hope for the best. But, you know, this pulse bomb needs to come up with something. There's nano up as well for Chorks. I mean, it's probably, again, maybe Nano Cassidy, maybe even the Nano Tracer with the way Soul has been popping off. So, I mean, the DPS target is going to do a lot of damage versus this dive as it comes in.
Pulse Bomb comes out there from Soul, not able to find anyone with it there. That could have been a very quick fight ender if they were able to find one of the supports who I believe was their primary target, but the Nano coming out onto Rusty here. Holy Frog, now anti there, but the kills all go in the way of Nymphicus. High Noon coming out from Tries. It's a desperation High Noon, but it won't find anyone there. Now it's really up to Holy Frog, but with them getting demech'd here, Nymphicus will take the first map of Lijiang Tower.
It was hard fought and well earned, but Nymphicus did earn it for sure. That dive comp on that last point really looked clean when you think about it. Just the way that they were able to get 3 and 4 members falling onto that, and Rusty being a key, the spearhead for a lot of that too. The question mark to me was how good is Rusty coming in off the bench while they're finding a tank player to really kind of fit this role and make it work. And he has shown that he's very capable of leading this, which shows exactly why you got here across multiple tanks even. But that dive looked very smooth. That got so much pressure and across for Nymphicus. So really, this Nymphicus team showing a lot of comfort in what is meta, and I think that goes a long way in its own right. Just being able to say, look, here's what the comp we should be playing. We know how to play it. Let's win. Because Chorks, they looked good. Don't get me wrong, but their comp, like the D.Va, is not necessarily the greatest matchup versus the Winston, especially when you're trying to play more defensively versus this dive. You kind of need the full anti-dive package. A Brig. The D.Va, a lot more defensive nature. Like the Cassidy and the D.Va were a good look, but it just didn't quite come together on a couple of these points, and you can see it through Quirks' changes over this time. Every time we're looking at these replays, there's always something slightly different. They never really found anything to settle on.
Yeah, I mean, we're just watching these replays here right now, and honestly, I agree with you. Like, I don't think Chorks did necessarily anything bad throughout that entire first series, but maybe, the tank was a little bit of a spot that you could say, like, hey, the D.Va wasn't necessarily the right point. Yeah. I don't think they really ever found any value out of the bombs or the remix. I don't think they got any kills from them through the 2 points they played that D.Va, other than utilizing that defense matrix a lot to eat up a lot of damage. I don't think the D.Va was that, key in any of the fights.
No, especially when that dive is powering up Whis so much. Whis over on that Tracer had just been unstoppable. I don't really ever recall seeing the Tracer duel go off, but I'm pretty sure Whis won it. Between the value that Whis got on the Tracer, just even knowing that you have a player you don't have to support if you are on the support line for this team is just wonderful. Is just an incredible thing to have, because you could just know, like, look, let's just create the chaos, let Wisp capitalize, and maybe he'll need to get topped off in the middle somewhere, but we're not worried about it. But it looks like our pick is in.
Yeah. So second map of the day. We're going to the biggest anti-dive map, in my opinion, or at least the biggest brawl map. We're going to King's Row.
King's Row a little bit more flexible now in the days. It is still the home of Brawl, but you can still do quite a lot. I think if you are Chorks and your goal is to try to maybe try to run this Pharah, I really do think that this is not a bad look for it. I think this is a good spot for it, but I do wonder if this is the choice. You've kind of lost to the Ramatra Brawl in some ways on that first part of Lijiang Tower, so I might be concerned about it, but these players got here, they know a little bit more, and obviously they have their comfort picks, so I do expect to see Brawl. I think you're right. I think we are going to see the Brawl. I think Rusty's going to pick up with the Ramatra again, and I think we're going to see that kind of comp come out. The question mark I have is that Holy Frog showed us a D.Va, a more defensive look when it comes to Lijiang Tower and kind of Overwatch in general. I'm wondering if that's going to be a continuing trend for them, if they're going to continue to play more defensive based, and they're looking at the D.Va again, and I'm not sold here, Dex. Like the value we get from D.Va seems like we're trying to protect Soul and enable them to go, which, I mean, if Soul can keep going, Soul has looked good on their DPS heroes. If we're trying to enable Soul, this isn't a bad idea, but I do wonder if, like you said, I'm not sure we're getting the value we want. I would take a Winston. I would take a Ball at this point. And if those aren't in your wheelhouse, like, I would even take a Sigma. Like, you can still run an off tank that will play well into this kind of more pohy comp if you are Chorks. Nymphicus, again, they just look good. They have a dive comp. They look great. They are opting into the Kiriko here. Tells me they are playing this a little bit more aggressively as opposed to keeping any defensive ults, and I think that's fine. They are the more aggressive team here, so no need to play a Sound Barrier or Immortality field.
Yeah, but you see him come out right. You see Chorks come out. I honestly thought the Diva pick was going to be a tease for us, and then they're going to swap over to something more traditional here for King's Row, but looks like they're going to stick on it right now, and each team seeming like they're kind of trying to feel each other out here. Wait for the first team, wait for someone to make the first mistake and then capitalize on it right now. You see Chorks here playing it very, very safely, but look at this. Holy Frog might have made that first mistake. They immediately get demech'd.
Yeah, just immediately burned down, and that means, that means there's just nothing. There's just free reign from iQuack and Whis. Like, everything is just there. This defense will continue to hold. The Pharah will rain down, but there's been no damage done. Kizo is leading the Nano. That's kind of the only real difference here, and that Nano onto Rusty is going to be huge. They'll build it up a lot quicker as long as Rusty just continues to take damage.
Yeah, and like still, we're seeing the Chorks here be very, very, passive and trying to wait for Nymphicus to make that mistake like we saw in the last fight where Chorks made the first mistake. Tries here actually has a good angle on some of those Nymphicus players, but they're going to eventually fall back and try to help out their tank there, but you immediately see Rusty dive up there. Rusty has to try to fall back to keep themselves alive here. Their tank, or their healers, though, doing a great job. Quack, though, able to find the first kill yet again. The res, though, will come out, but Rusty will find burns for it.
That's something, though, and the picks will fall for Nymphicus here.
Just Nymphicus winning this handily at the moment. Holy Frog waiting just to be killed there, but looks like Nymphicus gonna try to stagger them out a little bit.
The poke comp, it feels like we're just getting the wrong signals out of Chorks. Like, we're trying to poke, we're trying to find a target to collapse and put damage on. Soul's even going to give it up and go to the Tracer, just deciding that. Burns picking over the Brig. Yeah, now this looks like a comp that I want to see. This looks closer to what I wanted to see in regards to a counter dive. Problem is they're still playing behind. There's Nano for Kizo, Whis has Pulse Bomb, Rails are up. Like, Nymphicus is just coming into ultimates. It's probably going to be another dry fight. Maybe pull one of these ultimates if you can, if you're Chorks, and just kind of go get ready for the next. What a great day. Wow.
Matador able to find Soul there. Whis does use their Pulse Bomb, not finding anyone with it, but I imagine that did force out some utility there from the Chorks. Whis now in the theater, just trying to maybe bait someone out or fall in behind the Chorks to do some more damage, but Chorks still playing that's incredibly slow at the moment.
Yeah, they've given up a lot of time for not a lot of positioning. That positioning just past the choke has been basically free.
Rusty able to find tries here. The Nano coming on to Rusty. Actually, Nano going on the both tanks here. Rusty going on the aggression here, trying to find those supports in the backline here for Chorks. Soul falls here due to Quack's disrupting shot, and Rusty will fall back as not to fall in fight, but still, Chorks here running out of time. Only a minute left.
I'm still not sold. Like, there needs to be an aggressive play here from Chorks. They're running out of time. They have two ultimates up. There goes the self-destruct.
Self-destruct only being used because Holy Frog needs to get back in the mech, and they're not going to be able to as Whis takes them out there. Rusty now going after Soul here, who's incredibly low, but looks like they'll be able to fall back and get some health.
This is not looking good for Chorks. You have High Noon up, you'll have New Rally up, which is good. You'll come into your ults, but again, you just haven't been able to approach. You've gotten this corner for free, but constantly Rusty is in your face in this corner.
Yeah, Quack shooting that disrupting shot in there, and then you see Rusty diving in. It just has done so much to him, but hey, this is the opening the Chorks have been looking for. Holy Frog able to find Quack there, so no overclock on the board right now for Nymphicus. Chorks need to go in on this. The Cassandra is coming out from Matador, followed up by the rally from Burns. The High Noon coming out from Tries, trying to find anyone. They will find Whis. That is the pick they need to get there. That should give them some percentage here on the point, already a tick and a half.
They'll probably get this given up. The recontest will be there. Pulse Bomb is there, and that's a good stick. Unfortunately, nothing to be had. Rusty dies with Primal.
Yeah, but you know what? That's perfectly fine for the Chorks right now, but they need to focus on trying to cap this point right here. Nymphicus might come back and try to contest, but they're not going to be able to.
Where was Holy Frog's Winston the last several minutes is my only question, because since this Winston swap has been 100% success rate right now. I really got to wonder if this was just a desperation moment, if we're just like committing to the Winston before, or if there was some reason we're holding back on this, because it worked. Like, the Winston swap worked. We gave up the Diva. We're starting to play the same game, and it looks better. The problem is that they're, again, just playing from behind here. Nymphicus has Primal. They'll have Nano. The tools are just against them. So now, again, Chorks, they'll have their own Nano. They have to build up something here now. Oh, great.
Oh, the Nano comes out on the Holy
Huge
Frog,
sleep.
but they get slept there. Now Rusty has the Nano on them. Matador already finds Burns. Rusty providing a lot of damage. Look at it, 3 kills, make it 4. They didn't seem to get rid of Holy Frog, and it's a team kill for Nymphicus.
Wow, that was a great read, just a great read from the backline there. So swaps now coming in. It looks like we'll see Burns pick up the Lucio. A little bit of more wider heals and speed should make a bit of a difference, but Rusty is holding on to, there's primals on both sides, pulse bombs on both sides. Nymphicus should just kind of has this. They've had the more aggressive game, and they should be able to win from that.
And look at that anti-nade. It hits Soul, and Quack able to take him out immediately. Skullkiller next to fall to Rusty there, but tries, able to find Wisp right back. However, the numbers just continue to fall here for the Chorks, and they're running out of time.
Yeah, this is going to be last fight territory now, and Nymphicus won that for basically free. Now they'll have Primal, you'll have Kitsune Rush. The plethora of ults incoming for Nymphicus means that this is probably going to be a hold. Holy Frog needs to come up with something on this Primal, set up Soul for some sort of success here with his Pulse Bomb, because everything's going to come out here for Nymphicus. It just needs to be Chorks' response to engage it.
Oh, and Quack almost able to find Soul there with that railgun shot. Would have killed him if it was a headshot, but Soul able to escape with their life. Matador able to win the Kariko battle right now. Finds Skullkiller there. Now the Primal Rage coming out here from Holy Frog. They're trying to find anyone they absolutely can. iQuack does pop that overclock. Will not find anything from it because of that pressure coming out from Holy Frog.
They only really committed the two things. They only committed 3 ultimates there. I'm sorry, but you're still pretty okay with it. I think if you're Nymphicus, you still have Pulse Bomb, you still have Kitsune Rush and Nano into this last fight. There's nothing to respond to it. There will be a touch, but there's nothing to stop it.
Nano coming out here on to Rusty. Wisp able to find tries. Soul next one to fall here. Stick coming out there on the Skullkiller. No Suzu to save them there. Kizo does fall though. Holy Frog trying to keep themselves alive. Burns falls. Holy Frog falls. That should do it for this round for the Chorks.
Yeah, Nymphicus just put on a very, very good defensive show here. Just saying, look, we are on the defense, but we are going to play aggressively. And that's what you need to do in a dive comp. You need to make sure that you have a read, you have the information, and you know where to put your dives in. The teamwork was there across this. And I touted it on the first map, but Nymphicus has a very strong dive comp. Again, Rusty just controlled these high grounds very, very well, and just made it look very, very easy. The Chorks now have to have a very, very tough order ahead of them. They have to hold this point A basically the whole way through the majority of it. And you can see most of these highlights are from this recapture segment. That's how well Nymphicus held this together, except for that sleep. That sleep was a great look. That was such a dope sleep. And again, wow. Yeah, shout out to Kizo hitting those sleeps. Man, I dream my accuracy is that good. But Chorks, I mean, this is a tough ask for them, considering how well that initial hold came in. This is a tough ask. They're going to swap over, and this is again a new look for them. So we're pulling it out here. We're pulling everything we have to, because it is win or go home. It is win or go home, and the Sigma with the Hanzo is a pretty standard defense here. I'm not sure it sticks. This is a very diveable comp. There are pieces that can get out of the way for Chorks, but this is also a comp that can be very easily dove. So looks like Nymphicus though is just going to run this right in their face. This is reminiscent of Lijiang Tower here. They're just going to take it right to them.
I love this sim pick coming out here from iQuack. Gonna try to TP them maybe to this high ground right now, but looks like they actually want to wait a little bit here. Actually, no, yeah, it's gonna be TP onto the high ground, and they're gonna go straight into a fight. Matador already finds Burns. Rusty applying that pressure, finds tries. Their next target is Skullkiller, but Skullkiller not gonna be able to escape from iQuack. Soul does find Rusty, but this fight is already over.
Yeah, in addition to being diveable, this comp is also easily hyper rushed onto, so there's that. Turrets will go out just to kind of buy the rest of it. Finally, the Tracer duel we've all been looking for today is coming there, but it's still a toss-up. Eventually, Wisp will come out on top, but meanwhile, the point has just been long since Captain. And Nymphicus, I don't know that this trick will work again, but the hyper-aggression that they show has really been the key to their success for a lot of this. Chorks has been trying to play defensively this whole game, and unfortunately just hasn't really been able to keep up with the aggression that Nymphicus brings. They're still quite ahead in most ultimates. Matador is going to have the Ambassadors going into this fight, and I mean, again, that's just going to hurt exactly where you want this opposing team to be. So a window into a corner means that this is just more space bought for Nymphicus.
Yeah, and just going back to what the Chorks did on that first point, hell, by the time the Nymphicus captured that point there, Chorks had just commenced and finished that first team fight, but look at this, already going into the second one here. Quack finds Holy Frog, but immediately gets traded out there by Tries. However, they continue pushing this cart right now, and Skullculator actually able to find Matter there. That might force a little bit of a fallback here from Nymphicus, but they feel like if they can take out or get this next pick, maybe they can get this point cap. Kizo falls, Burns falls, and then the rest of Nymphicus eventually falls as well. So Chorks might be able to stabilize here.
It was a good stall for now, but you still have, again, a long road ahead, 4.5 minutes, and Nymphicus now has 3 ultimates on board with the last 2 coming. You have Trance up if you're Chorks, so Trance is probably going to come out, has to be saved for Annihilation at this point. You kind of have to play around the Amp Matrix and the Pulse Bomb and hopefully just not get picked by it, because Whis is looking for Skullculator here.
Yeah, that might force out the trance right there, but no, the trance comes out incredibly early.
Oh.
Did they get confused by the Symmetra ult maybe? But Kizo, first one to fall here. Chorks need to win this fight with investing that Transcendence, but Skullculator is the first one to fall here for them. Tries, does have this dragon ready to go. The kill's going the way that Nymphicus needs to. Rusty pops the Annihilation, finds Holy Frog. It's up to Tries right now. Tries eventually will fall. Now Soul, last one alive, but a boop will end it here on King's Row, and Nymphicus one map win away from a grand finals berth.
This is not the way I believe they thought this was going to go. Skullculator will take their consolation prize, but again, that was a great read to try to force that out, right? Like they knew they had to get Trance out of the way. That was the only tool really standing between them and victory. Getting that Trance out was the first step to success, and they got it. They had their ultimates on board. Annihilation was basically free reign, and Dragon Strike tried to separate it and tried to buy it, but the damage was done that way. So a great read from Nymphicus to kind of read this out. And I mean, this is probably just going to be a sleep highlight reel in some ways if I had to guess, but again, Nymphicus just taking this very aggressive stance across most of this map. On the defense, they were always initiating first. They were taking the space and denying Chorks the high ground and controlling where they were allowed to go. On the attack, they just ran at them. They just pressed W and just did not care. There was no fear for this Nymphicus team, and that's what gets you to a finals. That kind of no fear, we have our play and we are going to do it, we will not be stopped attitude gets you so far.
Yeah, just we're seeing the highlights there, those 2 sleeps from Kizo on to Holy Frog there. Just incredible plays that you dream of, really. But like I brought up a little bit, GG Chorks played that first point on their attack incredibly slow, in my opinion. Almost to the point where, maybe we got a team fight, the first team fight, in about a minute after the map started there, and that's not what you want to do.
Yeah, the idea that we're going to play passively versus this aggressive team and punish it does work, but it has to, you can't necessarily sit and wait forever, like you said. It's very passive. It took maybe a minute plus to get a fight, and by the time it was initiated, like Nymphicus initiated those fights, it was just, they don't care. They have no reason to initiate. If you're not going to, the time works on their side.
Yeah, but with that being the end of map 2, we're going to go to a quick little break here, and potentially maybe, GG Chorks here needs to win a map to start a reverse sweep. Nymphicus only needs to win 1 more, and they have their spot locked in that grand final. So stick around. We're going to take a short break.
Memories. Memories.
All right, welcome back, everyone, from that short little halftime break there. Currently, right now, Nymphicus on top, 201 map win away from securing their spot in the grand finals here. Now, you know, we've talked about a little bit here throughout this series. Chorks has actually beaten Nymphicus in their earlier already in the playoffs, and I have to imagine this is a surprise to them at the moment.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. This is, if you're GG Chorks, you're probably you're shaking in your boots right now. I don't think you expected this because your counter picks to what I assume is what you're trying to do is you're trying to play into their counter picks really just haven't worked. So honestly, they have to have something else. They have to have some kind of a default that they're digging deep into here from F3.
Mm-hmm. But speaking of maps, Soef, we are going to Havana.
This makes sense. I mean, Chorks want to probably put Soul onto the far and give them as much rain as they can. This is the best of the options to do it. I'm just not sure though, because Soul looked great on Tracer, and although they've been getting value on the Pharah, this does give a lot of options to brawl comps, a lot of options to dive comps. It's gonna be very, very easy to just kind of spawn hold this, and I guarantee you we're gonna see that out of our blue team here as we get the doors open.
Yeah, I expect that we're going to see that too here, but this is such a huge map here for GG Chorks here. I mean, they get knocked down into the losers finals here in a map 5, a final map against Coconut Crew here. They could already have been sitting in, the grand finals waiting on the winner, Nymphicus and Coconut Crew. But right now, they're now having to win 3 straight maps to even try to get a rematch against Coconut Crew.
Yeah, and now that chances is slowly falling apart, unfortunately for them. So Nymphicus will look to use the spawn hold, kind of as we expected. Rusty is picking up the Reinhardt, though. And Chorks, I think they see this coming. They have to know that their teams run this, that Nymphicus is going to do this. They are pulling a lot of high damage, including that Hog and the Bastion. So really what sticks around after this initial spawn hold breaks is going to be the question mark. The Ana and the Zen could both stay, but really this spawn hold is going to be a tough break, especially if you don't focus out. Oh boy, are they going to be surprised when they switch them and double snipers try to run out the door?
Oh no. Well, actually no, they were just teasing us the entire way there. Now here comes the pharmacy that we're expecting. Holy Frog also swapping over too. a Orisa as well. The charge coming out there from Rusty, but Quack immediately able to find tries there with a snipe of their own.
Ooh, that's gonna stall a lot of time. There are answers on Nymphicus across this team right now. Tries giving it up and gonna go to the Cassidy now. And you know, again, this is gonna be a slow poke for Chorks, and we've not seen them find a lot of success with this Chorks. They have to find these success in these picks faster. Otherwise, they're just gonna lose so much time and possibly get held here at this A point.
Hey, but look at that. They're able to find Matador and Quack. However, they do lose Skill Calculator and tries right there. They do find Rusty, but again, kills just getting traded out here. Really, it's just Kizo by themselves. They should have some support coming back, though.
Yeah, Kizo will have to get themselves out of dodge, and now Chorks will play what they really want to be playing, which is this, probably going to be this sniper poke comp out of the back, and I do like it. Nymphicus will move over to poke of their own, and I mean, this is a dangerous comp here between Wisp back on the Tracer and Rusty over on the Wrecking Ball with Nano available. There is going to be so much damage coming in, and Chorks needs to find this information. Oh, that sleep!
Oh no, it's continuing from King's Row. Holy Frog just gets slapped at the most inconvenient times, but Chorks actually able to find the first 2 kills here, make it first 3. So even with that sleep, they're able to win this team fight.
I'm not sure what happened there. Rusty got focused out. This kind of focus out from Chorks really came to life here. So if they just continue to focus fire down like this, they will be in a good spot. Quack strikes with one of their own, though, and I mean, they have to give up so much space now if you're Nymphicus.
Oh no.
Ooh.
Holy Frog got absolutely bullied there by those 3 members of Nymphicus. Got slept, got the Discord Orb, and then killed. Now Tries falls, Skill Calculator falls, Burns falls, and now they have their eyes set on Soul.
Yeah, that kind of initial run might have just been a little bit of a glitch in the matrix there. So Nymphicus now has, I mean, they have trance up. They have pretty much everything on board, including sights. And sights, I think, is probably going to be the most impactful. They're going to be able to plan their dive perfectly, and we've seen how impactful Nymphicus's dives can be. So now finding their targets and clear, 4K is going to be a great opener for Nymphicus.
Quack, like you said, popping those sights here early. They still do have 4 ultimates about to be ready to go for them. Chords, though, will have 4 of their own coming up in this team fight. But, again, if Tries or Quack can find someone out early, that's going to be a great opener for whatever team is able to find that first pick right now. Oh, Wisp almost gets taken out there by Skill Calculator, but actually it's Skill Calculator falling there, and the kills all go in the way of Nymphicus here.
It's worth noting they're winning this, again, without committing anything. And the sights alone earned them a good 30 seconds of time. Chorks just waited out those sights and just gave up the time for free. So, I mean, still, trances on both sides, expect both to come out here, Minefield and Flux. Like, the plethora of ultimates just tells me that it's going to come down to whoever pops trance later. Both trances will go, the mines will go, Flux will go, but really, whoever can, the taunt in chat is brutal. But whoever can kind of get the value with their ultimate and pull out trance first, and there's the first trance.
Yeah, Rusty popping that psychological, those mind games right there. But here comes the damage matrix from the Chorks. Pulse Bomb coming out here from Wisp, not able to find anyone. Their Soul actually swapping over to the Sombra here, but still no one dying just yet. Chorks are able to actually get this cart pushed up a little bit further, but Tries able to find Wisp. That needs to be the opener that the Chorks are looking for, but Quack comes right back, trades out Tries. And they're able to find Kizo there before Matador is able to get back with that Transcendence. Holy Frog keeping themselves alive here. Almost fell there, but doing a good job getting some help from their supports there. Now we're in overtime. Chorks absolutely need this one here, but this ball of Rusty is just doing such a good job at contesting.
And the Rusty ball is there, and I mean, no one can really pick here. The Sigma isn't dying, but no one's completing the kills yet.
Quack, though, able to find Skill Calculator out here. The Immortality Field already gone for Chorks. However, Tries able to immediately get of Quack right back. Chorks need to continue to find the kills here. Wisp trying to get rid of Tries here. They're focusing in on them. Soul almost out as well. They're so close to an EMP. They need to try to keep themselves alive to get this one off. Tries, though, antied here, cannot be healed. Matador able to find Burns. The EMP ready for Soul. It needs to be huge. It needs to be the reason to cap this first point. Tries, Holy Frog falls. It's only Soul by themselves, but they find one. However,
he stepped off too far,
and they stepped off the cart.
I mean, that EMP hit 3, and it was primed to do so much, but it was just them, and they stepped off. That's just unfortunate timing. So the full hold will be there now. Dex, I don't know, man. That was a rough ending, because that looked promising. It was the only ult on board for the last bit of it, but again, Nymphicus just continuing to just exert pressure and just create these first picks across the board. And man, Kizo has I would love to see the sleep percentage from Kizo, because Kizo has hit so many sleeps across the board just from that. And again, this is just a well-oiled team. Look at Nymphicus; they are just constantly aware of who needs to be where, what needs to happen. But just a little bit too far, as you can see it there for Soul on that. Just came out of that, and I mean, it's just a tough ask now. Assumedly, Chorks is gonna try a similar full hold. They kind of have to. There's no space. You kind of have to play this up, even if you don't get any sort of a time off the clock. You just need to, because it'll allow your first fight to be taken closer, and hopefully by the time Nymphicus, probably again expecting this, will play into a similar comp. Weiss is sitting on that Bastion as we saw them on earlier. Yeah, they are expecting it now.
87.22 meters is all that is stopping Nymphicus from going to this grand finals here. Chorks have to try to make sure they don't get that. Weiss, though, immediately able to find Holy Frog, and that is the exact opener they were hoping for.
Yeah, again, you're fine with this. You kind of just needed to get one down, but iQuack with a no pocket will get some work done. So it'll be a long swap back. Chorks will go to their default comp, but I'm not sure you kind of want to at this point. I think you can't afford to give the speed, considering how little space you have to go. And I mean, it was a valiant effort on this hold, and great shooting from iQuack here, considering they lost their Mercy, found the opposing. Just great work out of both of them. Yeah, again, Nymphicus is going to stay on this. Great hook, great isolation.
Holy Frog was slept before that. And Kizo just absolutely making Holy Frog's game a living nightmare at the moment.
Yeah, really, that's been kind of a lot of the backline work is Kizo hitting sleeps, just enabling the rest of the team to go forward. And again, Nymphicus didn't even have to move off of this. Chorks will come in the last minute, but it's 2.5. It's almost 3 minutes. 2.5 minutes. It's 2 to 3 fights, and Nymphicus will have the first nano. So that nano is going to go probably on to Rusty on the Hog, just to kind of clean up the rest of the space here.
Chorks, though, allowing Nymphicus to get a lot of free push in before they actually come out to contest. Kizo here trying to pepper in some damage. Actually now focusing on iQuack here, trying to get them healed up. And look at that. A great opener here from Kizo. Finds Soul. And then, however, tries next one to fall. They're evening stuff out there. Nano coming out here on to Rusty. Nothing in their disposal. No ultimates, but they do find skill or Skullculator.
No.
Then they find tries. Are they going to be able to complete it? They're gonna find Burns as well. Now it's really only up to Soul and Holy Frog, but Holy Frog falls. Now it's just solely up to Soul.
It's the last steps. They know it's over. I think Chorks knows it's gonna be over. The last members will try, but unfortunately, Nymphicus just read it. Nymphicus just really kind of watched the tape here. They knew exactly what was coming their way, exactly what they needed to counter. So a well-deserved 3-0 from them. And Rusty again, another play. Shout out to them again, coming in from that kind of behind the spot, coming in not as a tank player, really coming in to put in work and help lead this team from that angle, has done so much. This really shows of a team that put the work in, really learned to gel as a team and kind of make lemons out of lemonade in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but we have to say this. Nymphicus here sweeping their brother or sister team here, but they're sweeping themselves into the grand finals where Coconut Crew awaits here. This was an incredible performance, in my opinion, from Nymphicus, knowing that they lost to GG Chorks earlier in the playoffs 3-1. They had a lot to play for in this one, a little bit of revenge they were looking for here, and a 3-0 sweep is a definitely good way to get some revenge.
And it's a statement going forward into the finals too. Like you said, look, we might be in the losers bracket, but we're not playing to lose. We're playing to win. We're not going to give up a single map. And even from their differential going into the playoff segments, they looked very good. There's quite a variety of statements out of this team between their aggressive nature and not dropping a map here. Tells me that this is a team that is going to really throw their weight around in the finals.
And we talked about it, or you brought up a lot throughout this series here, that Rusty coming in, a ringer, a fill-in for their tank, because they're still looking for it. But right now, Rusty, in my opinion, looks like a player that's been playing with this team for years. It seems like they're all so they're all so meshed together. They're all coordinated perfectly. All the team fights, everything we saw out from them. Kings Row, in my opinion, might be one of the best examples from it. We saw that disrupting shot come out from the Soldier, then the anti-nade coming out from the Ana, and then Rusty diving in there to basically just clean up the scraps for whoever was left alive at that point.
Yeah, but I think the one person that we haven't spoken too much about that really deserves a lot of kudos here for Nymphicus is Kizo. The sleep dart accuracy, just the ability to position correctly, win duels even, and even help take the far out of this guy, really to speak to their caliber. So this team shows quite a lot of promise going into this finals, and I'm very excited to see what they go in the Masters division.
Yeah, but remember, we talked about it a little bit at the start. These two teams from the same org, they have a lot of respect for each other. They really do appreciate each other here. Remember, they made us this logo here, this absolutely adorable logo. And it's just sad that one of these teams had to lose here tonight, because I imagine, they were hoping that these two teams could be going up against each other in the grand finals, but it just didn't happen that way.
Nope. Maybe next season, maybe next split, that'll turn around, but both of these teams will have their way to go. So Chorks will have to hit the benches and root on their sibling teams in the finals here as we close this out today. But again, just a beautiful set from Nymphicus to really show that they are ready for this finals.
Yeah, they are absolutely ready for these finals here. But again, I just want to thank everyone who came out today to watch this series. It was, in my opinion, an incredible one. I thought it was going to be a lot closer than what that scoreline showed, but sometimes it just doesn't work out like that. So, thank you so much for being my co-caster. I think this is the first time we worked together, and you are a pleasure to work with. Is there anything else you want to say before we sign off?
No, just shout out to our crew behind the scenes, Hippie and Little Joe, who have put in some incredible work on the production this run. So thank you guys for help making us work, and can't wait to see what else is bringing in the season.
Yeah, there's still a lot more action, though, to go this week in CGL. A lot of grand finals will be happening this week. So make sure you follow us here on Twitch or on any of our social medias to know when those grand finals are happening. For myself, Dextron, and my co-caster, Soav, and like you said, everyone behind the scenes, thank you all so much for coming out to watch this incredible series of Overwatch. I hope you all have a great night, and thank you.
Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours.
Our insight here, you get an insight and you know something, but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and it'll spoil the whole thing for you, But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.
Break